Oh,
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels, the podcast where we aim to explore, examine, and elevate the medium of comics. I have back a couple of my favorite guests, though the first time together, because the last time Pornsak Pichetshote was here, he was here all by himself to talk about The Good Asian, and Jesse Lonergan came with Joe Saracki to talk about Ghosts of Science Past. And now they have a new book together, Man's Best, which I think I even went on record on both Blue Sky and the podcast before I had even read the first preview. Just based on the cover, I said there is a really, really good chance that this is going to be one of my top 3 miniseries of 2024. Um, Now having read the first issue, I think there's a really, really good chance, and I'll go on record again. I would not be shocked at all if at the end of the year my top 3 miniseries are Man's Best, Animal Pound, and Beyond Real. They've all started already, and they're all just so amazing that I hope, just because I always like to see the next great, amazing thing, I hope things can beat them, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be
thank
tough.
you.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, appreciate that. I just finished Beyond Real, the first issue of Beyond Real myself. I thought that was great. Yeah.
Oh, I've talked to Zach about it a couple of times because he wound up not having an issue to show me the first time he came on, and he really wanted to come back after I'd read it.
Right.
I mean, just the whole idea. He's got what, 7 artists for 5 issues?
Yeah. No, it's kind of incredible. It's kind of
You know.
And I'm really impressed in that first issue how he handles the bled better than I think anyone does.
Oh yeah. It's very, very cool. And then Tom's just knocking it out. Tom knocks it out of the park on so many things, but he's throwing down the gauntlet with Animal Pound.
The Animal Pound is great. It's great. And Peter's doing great art on that.
Yeah, no, Peter's doing amazing art. I mean, and actually, this is going to be my first question for you because it comes really well out of Animal Pound. Like Tyler and I noticed that of the books that we were excited for, or no, we were going through the previews this last week, and the 3 books that we highlighted to talk about, we didn't even realize after we had until we'd highlighted that they all had animals. They were all
what was the third one?
Books. What?
What was the third one?
I don't think you guys were in it. It was Feral. It was let me see if I can pull up my notes. Maybe they're even already up. Feral. No, yeah, it was. It was Feral, Man's Best, Usagi Yojimbo, and then graphic novels, Catfight, Tomorrow the Birds, and Winnie the Pooh.
Oh wow. Wow.
So without even thinking about it, we actually picked 3 series that were new to order and 3 graphic novels new to order that all centered on animals. I mean, I guess Catfight doesn't really center on animals. It's cat burglars, but it's got a strong feline. If you haven't read Catfight, it's really good. Andrew Wheeler, Ilias.
Okay.
Uriasis. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. At IDW.
Okay. All right. I'll take a look after that.
I mean, it's a good caper book.
Okay. I mean, I'm friends with Tony Fleeks. He was one of the people I saw at New Year's. I'm gonna text him later on. Like, are you coughing too? But I'm friends obviously with Peter Gross and Tom King. Right. And so we have talked about how like there's this. I think Tony coined the term like petsploitation, and I do think that what me and Jesse are doing, what Tom and Peter are doing, and what Tony and Trish are doing, they're very different approaches to similar themes.
Absolutely.
And I do think there is something interesting, and I think it's where we're at, where it's very.
I mean, recently there's also been Scrapper.
Scrapper.
I forget the video game guy, but Alex DeCampi.
Yep, Alex DeCampi is doing that.
Co-wrote. We're on the 3rd volume of Captain Ginger at Ahoy.
Oh right, I forgot about that.
Mark Russell and Bryce Ingman are working on the Billionaire Dog. Actually, I think they're done with it. I think it's coming out soon. The Billionaire Dog Acid Chimp crossover.
Okay. Nice.
I mean, we just get it. I mean, you got It's Jeff from Kelly Thompson. You got
Yeah. Yeah, and Marvel's doing a little more animal books now.
yeah,
I mean, I do think there is something like, and I think specifically with the books I know best, like obviously mine and
right,
Jesse and Feral and Animal Pound, there is an ongoing theme that we're approaching from different angles of this idea of sort of like the perspective of sort of the disenfranchised, the perspective of being helpless and powerless within a system that seems to be oblivious to sort of your concerns, and yet you nevertheless have to, you are influenced and you are pushed around by the forces of that system. And
right,
one of the things I find fascinating is, if in Animal Pound and Man's Best and in Feral, we're all kind of from very different angles and different genres, sort of interrogating sort of all those ideas. Man's
right,
Best is very much just homeward bound in space, but it's about these emotional support animals that don't really have everything is bigger than them. And that's one of the reasons why the book is set in a science fiction universe. Everything is bigger than them. Everything is bigger than anything that they could imagine. It's just how they survive and how their friendship survives sort of within all of that. And I think you see, and it was really cool to me to see that a version of that in Animal Pound, a version of
yeah,
that in Feral,
yeah.
of
Well, and
them
if you
doing all
haven't
that.
read it, there's a version of that in Scrapper.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true. That's very true. It's very true.
It's a
Yeah.
little bit uh I mean, and going back to Animal Farm,
Hmm.
which is what Animal Pound is. I mean, it makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
Good way to make a more universal. I mean, I guess one of the things that went through my head is like, is it like that random zeitgeist where just everybody's deciding to do animal stuff right now, or did somebody like push it and it sold well enough that now everybody gets to dust off their animal pitches that they haven't been able to get people to take for?
I, I mean, honestly, like for me, it was definitely to me, it feels like a zeitgeist. I mean, the fact that me and our book and Feral is out in the same month within like a couple
Right,
weeks apart from each other, and I'm friends with Tony. I didn't even know. I
right.
knew Feral was coming.
I mean, but
I
he'd
had
done
no
Stray
idea.
Dogs,
Yes, yes,
you
and Stray
know.
Dogs was a huge hit. But I remember, like for this book, the
And
idea for
that
Man's
was kind
Best.
of what I wondered if Stray Dogs was like, oh, we can sell animal books that aren't Usagi Yojimbo and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I wonder. Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
I think it's sort of like it's part of just like the broadening of comics. Like if we look at just like this narrow thing of like mainstream monthly comics, yeah, it's like a big thing. But if you look at like movies with
Oh yeah.
animals that are taking on like more complicated issues and stuff, and everything Disney's ever made,
Well, and
like
animals have been
it's
integral in like
it's
comic strips.
yeah, and there's like all the classic ones too. So I think it might be the zeitgeist. I don't know. I didn't also wasn't my original idea, so Pornsak would answer that better. But like I do feel like there's sort of like this broadening of the mainstream, or I don't know if this is mainstream, but like where you're starting to see more different things where you can get more genres almost
Yeah.
of like, well, these animal books, or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think like I had this idea. I've had this idea before Stray Dogs, and if anything, when I saw Stray Dogs came out, like I don't know if I can do it because it felt like Tony did the best version of it. And then it was, talking with Eric Harburn over at Boom, and when he brought Jesse on board, that was when I was like, oh wow, okay, there's a different way of doing this, and just basically having Jesse like do that is like the way to make it be better than the version I had in my head and different. But I do considering Feral and Animal Pound very much are coming at it from different angles. Like I do wonder if that's the zeitgeist bit of it, this idea of like powerlessness
Yeah.
within, and we're coming into an election year where the same candidates looking like the same candidates from the last election are coming back at it again and all that kind of
And
stuff. And
unfortunately, large amounts of the last election don't seem to be completely
yeah,
resolved yet.
yeah. So there's a lot of, I think, I don't know, like me and Tony and Tom and Peter and Trish and Jesse, like it does feel like that powerlessness does, and what to do about that powerlessness is at this the thematic center of all our books. So that piece of it might be zeitgeisty. But again, like you said though, Kelly Thompson, Guru Hero are doing a great job with It's Jeff, the alligator Loki and all that kind of stuff. And
Right.
that's that's not dealing with that. And who and maybe if we had more of that out, we can kind of take a look at and say like, oh, even though if they're not directly dealing with that, are they are they tapping into those themes? I don't know. And it'll be
there's
interesting to
some
see.
level in a lot of them, and I also think that I mean, I once read a interview with Stan Sakai where he said one of the reasons that Usagi is a bunny is it's easier for him to do it that way.
That's interesting.
It wasn't strict. It's like he's like, I liked the way I made it look with rabbits and animals better than I like. And for me, like reading it, I almost think the closest analog to Usagi Yojimbo is Lone Wolf and Cub. And I adore Lone Wolf and Cub, but particular fight scenes are easier for me to digest in Usagi because you don't mistake a rabbit for a dog. So I know which one is which. Whereas sometimes in like the real action scenes in Lone Wolf and Cub, I gotta okay, which one had this symbol? Because they're just grizzled men and they're moving so fast, and for that matter, I work in autism, and I know that one of the reasons why Disney appeals so much to autistic kids is that the emotions are that much more exaggerated. They can see it because you have to exaggerate it on a cat's face.
Yeah.
Cats don't, I mean, as much as this guy is a brat, and occasionally I can tell that he's happy or he wants to kill me or whatnot. It's always very subtly different.
That's an interesting point. Like Jesse, I know we had a conversation, or I would hear it for you. There was a big decision process in terms of like how much the animals would emote, right? That you kind of went through, right?
Yeah, like it's sort of I guess sort of in the style of art, thinking about like how abstract, how distorted, how like getting into more like iconography it is.
Right.
Because there's I don't know, sort of like the more extreme stuff like Mickey Mouse or whatever, where it's like he doesn't really even look like a mouse anymore. Like
well, you got to keep the copyright.
What?
You got to keep the copyright.
Well, but I mean, but like with him, like if you look at an actual mouse, their ears are not circles. It's a very like abstract, distorted.
Steamboat Willie just went into the public domain like 2 days ago. I was just being timely.
Okay.
One of the reasons they change things every couple of years is every change to a certain extent keeps the copyright on that version of Mickey.
That's interesting.
Right.
Also, because Mickey is trademarked as well. Even to the extent that he's gotten in the public domain, you got to be careful because the trademark is still the trademark. That's why the ears became really distinctive, because they could trademark that. They couldn't trademark the original ears.
They were distinctive right off the bat. Like, and even if you look at like Hello Kitty or anything like that, like they're very like distorted, abstract stuff. But like with our story, they are animals, and like unlike Usagi Yojimbo, like they're animals in a human world, well, human and alien world. And so like I felt like going that far wouldn't really work. So it's like this like pulling it back, sort of like not drawing straight up real cats, not drawing straight up real dogs, but finding this sort of like middle ground of like abstraction and cartooning that sort of worked for the story. And so that we have like, as realistic as I draw, which isn't too hyper detailed or anything like that. But like
it's perfect for storytelling though. No, I'm serious. I think sometimes the people who get too hyper detailed lose track of the fact that they're telling a story.
Well, I guess I think of also like for cartooning, it needs to be distorted a little bit, like for it to work. It doesn't really work if it's just the way it is. Like to me, like looking at like comics where it's a photograph, like I think of this one with like John Cleese from the 60s, like a black and white one where he discovers Barbie and falls in love with a Barbie doll. Like John Cleese, I think of as like having an incredibly emotive face, but like you put it on a photograph, it's just like stiff.
Right.
It doesn't have that same energy. And so I think like you need this like little bit of abstraction to sort of get things across. And I think within most American comics, people might use the term realism. There's very, very little realism in that stuff. Like
I would say even more now. I think we had a brief period in the 90s where it was all about trying to make it as real. I mean, comic book real, but
very real in big quotation marks.
Right. Real the way a Barbie doll is real more than real. And I mean, I know that I actually fell away from comics for a while because it's like, okay, yeah, this art looks cool, but either I don't like the story they're telling or I don't know the story they're telling. I just see a lot of pockets and
yeah, I feel like there is this period in the 90s where there was I feel like the moving towards I feel like even in the 80s they were like, no, this issue has to have a beginning, middle, and end.
right.
And like a person needs to be able to pick it up and like read and understand it. And I think like some very good comics started like pushing that idea away and being like, no, like
You can have an
if you're at
arc.
issue 25, these people need to catch up. Like that's their problem. And then I think some very bad comics took that same attitude as well. And it's just like, I have no idea. I'm at issue 1 and I have no idea what's going on. Issue 2, I still have no idea what's going on. Issue 3, I continues. And then they reboot.
And I think, I mean, it's sometimes fun to go back and look because even some of the artists where if I look at some of their early work, it's like, oh, I like this art, but they're not storytelling. Some of them turned into storytellers. Some of them reached a point where they realized, oh, you got to have both. And others, not so much.
Yeah, well, it's a weird balancing act, like as an artist, like like things that like if I'm selling original art, like things that sell,
Right.
like
Exactly.
those 15-page narrative pages, 15 panel narrative pages, it's like but then like a big splash page is something it is, and so it's like this balance of like what it gets you attention,
Right.
but then what works actually matter? Like these hot artists, like it didn't seem like they were suffering for a lack of storytelling, and so it's something that I just personally am interested in, and it's my focus.
Jesse, have you ever found, because like to me, I consider you such a consummate storyteller. Like, do you ever find yourself in that position where it's like, oh, if I draw it this way, I can make more from selling it? Like, do you ever find yourself having those moments?
No, I don't think that. And also, I think with what people, this is getting into weird territory of like what people think perceive of me is they expect a lot of panels.
Okay.
And so it's like if I just do like a big splash page, we're like, it's not that interesting, not many panels. So I don't find myself thinking of like, oh, can I sell this page? But I think other people might, and other people might just be like, what I'm really into is doing the rendering and like doing this big drawing and like having room to really like get in the detail and all the fun stuff. And for me, I see that appeal, but it came much later. Like my initial interest was always like panels and relationships and like this image next to this image next to this image to like build meaning, like sort of like, and I think I started pretty minimalist and have been moving basically like I started with like comic like panel to panel skills and I've sort of built on that. So now I kind of draw okay.
It's funny for me to hear you say minimalist because like you see it a little bit in issue 1, but especially issue 2, like there's so much in the best way. There's so much detail.
Oh,
in
now I wouldn't say
so
minimalist at all.
okay,
I was,
okay,
what I'm saying, like when I was like got serious about sort of
okay,
drawing, like in the early 2000s, like my
okay.
stuff is like so stripped down, like
Mm. Oh,
and
right,
I,
right, yeah,
I feel like I had this like very like if it's not if it doesn't add to the narrative, you don't need to put that line there
right,
or whatever, like. And I think I've moved away, and I sort of like see both sides of it,
right.
where it's like, well, there is this sort of joy in like a really rendered thing.
Mm.
Um, and I think like, yeah, issue two has a lot of really rendered stuff. Issue four,
Issue
which is what I'm
three.
working on right
Okay,
now, has a lot.
okay.
Has car
I mean,
chase
you go
through a
pretty crazy in
city.
issue three too.
Yeah, but issue three, yeah, it's a different kind of
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah, it's
I
a
think.
different kind. Yeah.
With this, I feel like I don't think I've ever like sort of like shifted as much
Mm.
within a series
Yeah.
where like it's going from like Star Trek like hallways in issue one to like giant robot fights later in issue
Yeah.
one to, like weird forest scenes with like cute little animals to dream sequences, like, and trying to adjust the art at every point to do it. And now I'm doing, like a car chase through a city with a lot of different aliens
Yeah.
around. And uh yeah, so it's very rendered. I'm just like looking at it over on my desk. I'm like, oh,
I can't wait.
it's gonna take
I
a long
can't
time to
wait.
finish that page today.
So particularly as you just said that every line has a purpose in the storytelling. I think I
Not
might have brought.
anymore, not anymore. A
Well,
lot of them don't matter at all.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I did
Uh,
want to bring up one thing that I think is still somewhat uniquely you. You don't see it very often in other people, and I adore it. And in this issue, it's really just on the covers and on the letter page at the back. But the one picture, multiple panels, and it took me a
yeah.
long time for me to figure out why that worked so well for me. And then I realized that it's like a lingering shot in a movie. It's your way of making me spend more time with the picture because I'm naturally still kind of going panel to panel, even though I see it's a picture.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. Like I think I don't know how unique it is with me. I think there are like other people who do it. I feel in mainstream comics, maybe less so, but like you start getting into indie comics, I think like a lot of the stuff like
Some,
Fantagraphics publishes, you see people
I mean,
doing like that sort
I
of
read a
thing.
lot of comics, both mainstream and not, and you'll see a lot of like the triptych
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
that's one, but I mean, where
I,
somebody else took three panels for one picture, you take,
yeah.
15.
Yeah. Yeah, that I
You, you know,
I don't know
I mean,
what's wrong
most
with
people
me,
will
but
cut
like
them one way or the other, and
mhm.
you cross cut them.
Yeah,
I can't. I'm
I
not
obsess about
guaranteeing that that's
grids
not
and
out
like
there.
how it works. And like
Right.
and maybe that's like my idiosyncrasy is that I'm like, oh, it's vertical and horizontal.
Yeah.
But I feel like
Because trust me, at this point, I look for it because it's something I love about you.
oh,
And
well, thank you.
I mean, spoiler alert, you're gonna be in my list of top cartoonists of the year because I loved Arca, I loved
Okay.
Jerome, I
Oh,
loved
cool.
your take on Truesdale, your work with
Oh,
Mignola. I mean,
thanks.
just
Thanks.
you. We're doing our year-end lists, and you're gonna
Okay,
pop up a couple of times.
okay. That's always good to hear.
So I'm not talking from nowhere.
No, I think like yeah, it's sort of I guess I think there are like definitely places it's coming from where it's like
Right.
I've sort of seen similar things, but it is sort of I guess one of my feelings with comics. It's like Scott McCloud, like understanding comics. It
Yeah.
says like the invisible art, like
Yeah.
at least the earlier versions, and
Yeah.
like part of me hates that. I'm like,
Mm.
no, you really should pay attention to like what's going on this page, and like there's
Well,
like
but I mean,
one
I
mindset
think he
where it's
calls it
like
the invisible art and then spends an entire book showing you
I
why you
understand
can't treat it that
no,
way.
but like but that like
I mean, he does give an
people
entire chapter to gutters.
I don't know. Like, I guess what it is like, I feel, and maybe this is not a good thing, but it's sort of like I'm insisting on you, like, consider this as a comic. And I think I don't think Man's Best is that insistent on it. I feel like it's more of a mix. There's some points,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
but like I think Hedra is probably the most like being
Oh,
like.
definitely.
Yeah.
Like you
I think
can flip through this and totally miss everything because I'm making it so it doesn't make much sense if you don't pay attention. Um, but yeah, and so like yeah, the covers have a lot of that. I feel almost all the covers do. I think I've drawn them all now.
Yeah, you have.
And that was
Yeah, there it is.
yeah, there it is.
it's
And
actually been sitting next to my computer since the last time we talked
Oh wow.
because I pull it out enough that I haven't wanted to put it away.
cool. Uh,
And it was
yeah,
the first time that I'd really, I mean, what I'm talking about, like the first time I really experienced it in detail was in Hedra. And
hmm.
I had no idea who you were, but I picked up this
Nobody did.
comic and it looked really cool. And I'm like, oh, I got to get this.
Yeah.
And like within like a page, I was just hooked, the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
multiple explosions with it's like, okay, I don't know what he's doing yet, but I love it.
Yeah, I think Hedra had that quality of nobody who wasn't going to like it was going to pick it up. Like,
Right.
I think you can look at it and be like, not interested,
You know,
or
I
interested.
I definitely
And
remember the first time I discovered Hedra too, and it was like, and it was one of those things like you hadn't seen someone, use design and break down time on a comics page
Mhm.
like that for me, like since Chris Ware, and
Yeah,
Right.
like,
yeah,
and just to sort of see someone do that, and you were doing it kind of in a genre bend, like that was
mhm.
that was so exciting to sort of see the first time I saw Hedra.
Yeah. Well, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's it's interesting to like try and incorporate that design sense with like the story that Pornsak is telling, and like I feel like I do feel like I'm still sort of minimalist, especially narratively,
Mhm.
where I'm just like, oh, three characters. Oh, that's so much work. Why don't we just have one? But like, like we have this story and it's
Did you
about
ask
like
him to
the
kill one of the animals?
no, I asked him to change one of them.
Yeah,
I
you
actually might have
did.
asked him to change two, but I only got one.
Oh yeah. Now I'm trying to remember what
I
the other
was
one was. Okay.
I just was like, can't we have a not a cat or a dog? I thought like
Oh no,
I
no, you asked me
posed
to
just
change
like
the same character a couple times. I think that's what it was.
I think I wanted Lovey to be a French bulldog.
Yes.
But then
But
I was
then,
like, can't one of them be a bird or like
right,
a
right, right,
turtle
right.
or
And oh,
something?
and I think to
Um,
me that was the same slot. It would have been Lovey would have been the bird
would
or
Lovey
the
would have been the one who was changed
yeah,
probably. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's good. It didn't happen because
yeah.
Lovey is my favorite character to draw.
You could tell. You could tell.
Yeah. Well, French bulldogs like they're kind of cartoons already. Like
Yeah.
their faces are so humans have done such a wonderful job breeding this animal to look kind of ridiculous. I mean, they're not as far gone as English bulldogs, but they just have such expressive faces and stuff already. So I feel like in some ways he's maybe the least cartoonish, but the most at the same time.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
because the source material is so cartoonish. So
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and
I
so
can see that.
yeah, that's
I'm
sort
a
of
big
like
fan of. Oh no, go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'm a big fan of Athos with the cat mech. I don't have
Yeah.
anyone who
Yeah,
looks at
yeah,
the cat mech and doesn't like light up.
yeah. That was thinking about like like their sort of I don't know why I'm blanking add-ons or whatever, like
Yeah,
their costumes and stuff. Like Athos being sort of small and like wanting to like make him bigger,
yeah,
like and add that sort of weight to him and stuff. And then also getting to be sort of like cartoonier in all the additions, and make it more, well, like you sort of described, like the creator is kind of like treating them a little bit like toys,
Yeah.
and like uh, amping up their cutesiness
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. Part of the conceit of the book is that we have pets. The book is about these three emotional support animals that have to sort of raise
I guess I
their
should have had you
spaceship's
guys
crews.
introduce it a while ago. We
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
forget things
it's
like
fine.
that.
It's fine. Their starship goes down. These three emotional support pets have to rescue their crew. And they have these like mech suits that their owner, who's like sort of a mad scientist, so the science officer of the ship, sort of built them. But she built them with this idea that in the same way that, I've seen tons of dogs videos of like dogs in like serial killer outfits and dogs in like postal suit outfits.
That dog as Chucky is the best.
Yeah, the dog as Chucky's amazing. The dog as Chucky's amazing. Yeah. And it's all that, and they're just there because the owners find them cute. So their owner, the scientist, just built them this tech suits because if I was a super genius with endless resources, I of course would build tech suits for my pets and have them do crazy ass shit with them. And that's the only reason why she built these things. So all of these things were just made for them to look as cute as possible while doing ridiculous things. So it helps both, like it's in world and out of world that they're both cute and ridiculous.
Yeah,
I like it.
And it was sort of one of the things that sort of drew me to the project was like the opportunity to sort of, I don't know, get to be ridiculous. I feel like it's like this muscle that I like but haven't found a place to sort of use in comics, and sort of this was like a great project because it's like, oh, okay, I can really like have a lot of fun in sort of like the weirdness of character design and stuff, because there's like a reality and like a level of unreality that I find like is a nice blend to the thing.
Talk to me about how we started, because Pornsak, you said you've had the idea for a while. So how did you get Jesse involved? Give me
I can't take any credit for getting Jesse involved. So what basically happened was I've kind of owed Eric Harburn a favor for like 4 years, and he was like the first editor to really like pay any attention to me back when like I had nothing out, and I always told him like we'd work together, and I promised him that we would. And I've been an editor before, and I've known what it is when freelancers promise to work with you and they never follow through. So I've been very careful that when I make these promises, I actually sort of follow through. It just takes me a very long time to do it. So I had this idea, and Eric was, for 4 years, like clockwork, he'd show up. It's like, I'd really love to work with you. I'd do something. And I would tell him like, I promise you we'll work together, just not now. And I'm sure he didn't believe me because I didn't when people told me that stuff when I was an editor. But I had this project, and I didn't really know what to do with it in terms of like how it was supposed to visually look. And most of the times I have a very strong idea of how it was supposed to visually look. But when Stray Dogs came out, I was just like, oh, Tony did that, and he did it better than I could have thought. Like, I don't really know. And so, and Eric really liked the idea, and he was one who brought Jesse up. And at that point, I was a huge fan of Hydra. I was a huge fan of Planet Paradise, but I did not know, because it hadn't come out yet, that Jesse was working with other writers. When you look at his books, you just assume he's one of those cartoonists who like writes and draws all his own stuff. So if it left to my own devices, I don't think I ever would have considered in a million years to approach Jesse, because I'm just like, no, he's got a book, he's got a 3-book deal somewhere. He's not gonna have time for this and all that kind of stuff. And Eric was one that came to me.
Jesse's sitting there going, I wish.
That'd be great. That sounds good.
Because Eric brought up Jesse's name, and my first thing was like, oh my god, I'd love to, but like, do you think he would do this? Like, I don't. It feels like he could just write whatever he wants and draw whatever he wants. And Eric was the one who's just like, no, I hear he's doing this book, I think for humanoids that he was on with you guys about, and like I think he's taking on work for like other publishers. And I'm like, oh my god, if he's doing that, like I told him about. But Eric Harburn deserves all the credit. Our editor Eric Harburn over Boom deserves all the credit for putting us together, because I was already a huge fan, and probably too much so, because I was such a fan of his stuff. I'm like, there's no way he's going to work with a writer. Why would he work with a writer?
I don't know why people say that. That's funny. Like you're like, oh, he definitely doesn't need to write, and I'm like, yeah, most people think I can't write at all. Like they're like, oh, he just does these art comics that have like no narrative, and I'm like, there is a narrative. I
Oh,
thought
they
about it.
have serious
Um,
narrative. You
Yeah.
just got to
but
work for it.
I don't know. Like I just that's my feeling. It's like no one would hire me to write a book. Like they
No,
would be like,
at least not
no,
yet. I mean,
we'll hire
maybe.
you to draw one. We will not hire you to write one. So I
I think
feel
they would
like
hire you to write and draw a book, though.
write and draw, yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think they would hire me to write a book. And so yeah, Eric just approached me and mentioned the idea. And it was something like I feel like I don't know, like I had done like a lot of sort of very just human based stuff, and like that this seemed like a possibility to sort of get into a more like cartoony side that I hadn't really been able to explore so much in comics. Um, and it yeah, and so then Pornsak and I started talking, and all of us started talking, and it came to be. Um,
And it was a funny thing because me and Eric talked about it. It's just like Jesse was saying, all his comics are like this human based stuff. But if you went to his Instagram, it was all like animal
yeah,
creature based stuff.
yeah,
So it's just like I don't think anyone's thought to like combine these two yet. Like maybe we'll be the first book to let him do
yeah,
creatures in comics.
yeah. It's I feel like for me personally, I get like hung up on like, oh well, what is the narrative of like this sort of image? And part of me is like, it's better just by itself. Like,
Mm,
and so like to be given like a story that has like a clear thrust of the narrative with like like these struggling animals to like balance their personalities and sort of like be at odds with each other, but you have to work together. Like it felt like a really good story to be able to sort of like push in sort of like more visual ideas. Um, that's what I like about working with writers is I don't have to think about that stuff. I can just like like be like, all right, I'm going to do this page, and I'm going to design this where like it's civilization, it's separation of tasks, and all of a sudden everything gets better. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's like, oh well, this guy's devoting all of his brain to narrative, and this guy's devoting his brain to art, and so he's not distracted. And it feels like it's coming together like really well.
Yeah. I remember when I got the first 4 pages. I think I was with somebody when I was just the first 4 pages, and I was like, and I still believe this. I was like, looked at the first 4 pages, like this is the most comic book I've ever comic booked. Like I love it.
Yeah, the first 4 pages are fun. They're kind of like a mislead too, because it's like, yeah, after those first 4 pages, the narrative totally shifts.
Yeah.
I feel like the first issue goes through a lot of changes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think all the issues kind of go through a lot of changes. So it's a
yeah.
lot of
There's a lot of evolution across it, and yeah, and a lot of sort of like similar approaches but different approaches, I feel.
yeah. One of the things I'm really happy about the book is that uh I wouldn't say all, but it gives Jesse a lot of different gears to sort of play with. And so each issue, I almost feel like he's like working in like there's like 3 separate gears at issue that he kind of like approaches each book. And like as a fan of his and that once we had Jesse on board, that became a thing for me because like as a fan of Jesse's art, it was just like, okay, what are all the things I want to see Jesse draw? Like here's a opportunity to go through all of that.
Yeah, I definitely like sometimes I I like hate myself. No, all the time I hate myself. But like there's just like there's one page where you're like, this is kind of like an MC Escher, and like I was like, oh, I'm gonna go full on. Like I'm gonna like I was like I knew it. I could feel it. I was just like, oh, I'm gonna be doing so much math and like plotting so much out. I was like, why? It's gonna kill you. You know it's gonna take you days. I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna do it. I can feel it. Like just like sit down and like I actually like I generally I draw on like the paper and then just ink over it. But this I was like, I gotta do this on a separate sheet of paper because there's gonna be so many ruler lines
Oh my
and
God,
so
I
much
can't
marks
wait.
and like
I
then
can't
like
wait to see it.
whiteboard the whole thing to pencil it like to
Oh my God. Oh, I
and
can't wait.
I know it's just like But it
And
was sort of
now
like,
you have to sell well enough to do the full on like
Like artist
process at the
edition.
back
Yeah.
hardcover edition. I want to
yeah, we'll
see
see.
the pre-penciled
Three pencils,
penciled.
yeah. There's, yeah. I don't know. It's sort of like I feel like there's like, yeah, these gears, and it's like, oh, am I really gonna do that? Because it's like there are there are things that look good, but you can actually draw pretty quick. And then
Mm.
there are things that like maybe they don't have much of an impact, but it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like a really good perspective drawing. Like
Mm.
I feel like actually the sequence I'm doing now where it's like through a city, it's like all so much perspective, like to
Mm.
get it just to look right, but I don't think
Right.
anyone's gonna notice. Like,
Right.
they're just gonna be like action, 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 action. But it's like, yeah, but it matters. Like, like it will feel like it's in a physical space if I measure all this stuff out. So yeah, it's always a balancing act. Um,
Another thing that
it's going to get easier though, I think. I think issue 5 is going to be
I
a
think issue
relaxed
5.
issue for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're
Because
right. I think
I
you're
feel
right.
like
Yeah.
the
There's a lot of work
final
for me on issue 5,
sequence
but
is
yeah.
a lot of you. It's like a lot of
Yeah.
pressure on you, but I think it's like, oh, we've gone through this crazy journey and now we're entering this place of calm for me.
Right.
But for you, everything gets ramped up.
Right.
so the other thing that I wanted to make certain I brought up and asked sorry, Pornsak, that we're all Jesse today.
Hey, no,
Um,
I love talking about Jesse.
I don't, I mean, aside from the fact that you draw for others and you draw for yourself and you do graphic novels and you do single issues, I think you're the only person I know that also crosses over. You put out like indie comics. I picked up Faster on a table at CXC.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Or maybe I
From
got it at Cake. No, it was a Cake.
maybe
The
from
the
Zach.
publisher was a Cake.
Okay, yeah, Zach.
Yeah.
Zach Clemente. Um,
Yeah. And for that matter, that's the one that I see anytime I'm at like any of the Howling Pages in Chicago
mhm.
or a handful of other stores around the country that I don't know as well because I don't get to them. But the ones that don't have Marvel, they don't
Right,
have
right.
your Dark Horse. They
Yeah,
might have your Image. Might.
right.
Only if
Yeah,
they happen to notice, oh, this is an Image book, but it's also really cool.
yeah.
Um, but they've got Faster on the shelf.
Yeah.
So how do you wind up? Because I for no other reason than I wish that more of the industry was like this. I wish that there wasn't. They're too, and I think each generation it's a little less. Like when I'm talking to people who've been around longer, there's more of a divide. But it's like, no, I'm an indie comics creator. I don't pay any attention to any of that or I'm a mainstream guy. I've never read it,
Right.
in both the fans and the creators, it's like there are lines. I do monthlies, I do graphic novels, I do stuff that I stapled together myself.
Uh,
Um and neither betwixt do they cross.
uh,
But they should because it's all comics. Um
I guess that's my attitude.
yeah.
I guess I also feel to some extent like I don't really fit in any of those camps. Um, but like I guess I came out of indie comics and I came out of like, like stapling a bunch of things together in my house. Um, and I like the possibilities that like sort of the DIY provides. Like
Right.
I don't like the way most mainstream comics are printed. Like I just like I look at it, I'm like, why is it on this coated paper? Like this coated paper is disgusting. Like it
I
is
love it.
it's so gross. I hate it. Like, and I'm like, why is it impossible? Why is it more expensive to get newsprint? And I like tortured Image with being like, can we get like, and they were like, I know they hate me. Like they were like, why is this guy asking for paper samples? Why doesn't he just get it published on one of the 2 papers that our printer provides? And it's just like, for me, like
And
there
now
is
I'm
like a
wondering how
special,
you don't have a Fantagraphics book yet, or drawn in quarterly.
because I don't fit in over there. Like, because Faster might be picked up, but it's a book about race cars and Fantagraphics. Like race cars? No, no. Are there any feelings? Like it's not really a feeling book. Uh, but I feel like, yeah, like Fantagraphics publishes, like nice books that I find like a pleasure to touch. Um, and so, but also I guess I like with like kind of that more indie thing is like really just sort of doing your own thing. Like there's sort of like you were talking about, like, well, if it sells well enough, we'll get the nice hardcover. And when you're doing indie comics, it's like, who cares how well it sells? We're just,
Right.
I just want to make this thing. And like Zach is a friend of mine. I've known him for, I don't know, a decade now. We both like met in the Boston area. We actually went to the same college at different times. Uh, but like he was starting up this press, Bulgyhan Press, and he asked me if I wanted to do something. I was like, yeah, I got this race car book that I don't see fitting in anywhere. He's like, let's do it. And so that. And now I'm working on the second issue slowly.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I've been seeing it. I'm actually scrolling your Patreon right now, and here's how cool Jesse is. Jesse has a comment from Elsa Chartier on his Patreon.
yeah. Well, she and I have talked a bit. Like
I
we're
believe it.
sort of, we've never met, but
I've only
I guess
met her
we're
on Zoom.
friends. Yeah,
I've only met her
that's
on
how
Zoom.
I met her. I mean,
Yeah.
there's an ocean between us.
She's been on the show a couple of times. She's awesome too.
She's great. Amazing artist.
And anybody listening to this, the Love Everlasting is back. Issue 11 came out today. It was fantastic. Yeah. Yeah, no, sometimes I just enjoy the experience so much that my mind blanks and I don't have good questions anymore. You guys are just fun to talk to. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Comics. Discuss.
But I feel like Pornsak, I feel like you're sort of pushing yourself with this story. Like I don't want to
Does it
say
involve
less
racism?
serious, but like like I feel like Infidel and the Good Asian, like yeah, there's like a serious of tone. Like, there's this heaviness, and that this story
Yes.
is not lacking seriousness, but there's a bit more lightness to it. Like, were you intimidated? Like
Oh
going,
yeah. Oh my God, totally. Everything about this project. I mean, everything about every project I do is intimidating. This one definitely more so. It's a tone that nobody knows me for and that I've
yeah,
never done. And I talk about it a lot. Like, I feel like there are things in comics I do well, and there are things I do in comics that I would recommend nobody do. Like, like like following my career path, it's a horrible way to build a brand where like you do a horror
I think
book
I'm
and
way
then
worse. It's
a
like be
horror book
totally
and then a
unknown
crime
until
book,
you're
and now it's
40
like a
years
talking
old.
animal book.
Like,
um, but so yeah, so this is all like new things, like they're new gears to lay on it. This book relies so much more on cute, and it's not that there isn't things there to make you think, but it's also things there that like I definitely in a weird way it is the polar opposite of a horror book, where as a horror book I am but even though it's a polar opposite, not even the opposite. It's almost like the inverse in the sense of like in a horror book, I'm building towards like creepy and grotesque visuals to give you that appeal. For this book, I'm doing the opposite. I'm building towards cute visuals to make you lean in and all that kind of stuff. But in some ways, it took a while to realize like, oh, the craft is almost somewhat similar structurally in how you manufacture a scene, because I'm going for a cute ski scene as opposed to a scary scene. And then there's also like and I feel like you went through the same similar process, which is why I asked the question. Like there's also this little bit of gauging in terms of how, because they're animals, they're broader characters, but there needs to be a certain amount of subtlety to communicate a certain sophistication of ideas. And so how do you find that middle line where they can do both at the same time?
Right.
and it is a little bit of like trial and error of just kind of like, this is kind of what I feel. Yeah, it starts with instinct, and then you realize, and then it's instinct, and then trial and error kind of brings it closer together. Like, okay, this feels like their voice. This feels
Right.
like how I can get to this spectrum of just like them going crazy about just being an extreme version of themselves, and this thing of being something a little bit more relatable to humans.
Right.
And so it was, but yeah, no, it was really, really, really intimidating
And
to
there's
work on.
also, like, I feel there's that idea of like there are philosophical ideas
Yeah.
discussed by characters who have no philosophy. Like
Right.
like there no like ground like and I feel like that must be like a very difficult balancing act with like sort of characters that don't have the language
Yeah, no, and
to
it's
express what
specific.
they're going through,
It's specifically that, like, one of the things I realized, because I think back when this was just an idea, it was, oh, I want to do science fiction, and I was looking at like, like all these like hard sci-fi writers and all that kind of stuff. But then my idea had to do with like cats and dogs in space. And one of the things I realized, like, oh, I can't do any of that hard sci-fi, which to me was the reason why I wanted to do science fiction, because science is a language at the end of the day, and
Mhm.
these animals don't have that language. And then I would find myself through the course of it just being kind of like, okay, what what in my theoretical world, what words do these cats and dogs know, and what words
Mhm.
don't, and what don't they? Which words, like, I had this like loose philosophy of like, okay, if it's too sciency, the cats and dogs won't know them. Like, they would know more pure emotional sort of terms
Mhm.
and all that.
Mhm.
But for exactly that reason. And I think a lot of the part of the story too is about, there's these three best friends who live sort of in comfort, and then when crisis comes, they realize that, oh, maybe we don't have as much in common as we think. And for me, it's very much sort of like an allegory of things I went through the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. But for them, it was them kind of realizing too, like, oh, the world is more sophisticated, has more facets than what we thought. And that ended up
Mhm.
being a tool in order to like do all that sort of stuff. It's like they're kind of realizing like, oh, these ideas are much more complex than what
Right.
we are. And so part of their voices is them struggling to figure out like, these are ideas that, you know, are just more complicated than what we thought. And so like, how do we wrap our heads around this? So there
Right.
was a
Yeah.
little bit I could do that kind of through the characters, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that makes it sort of more approachable too.
I hope
Like
so.
for a reader, these characters aren't going to go over your head.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because
yeah.
there is this thing of, hopefully where we started off, it is from perspectives that you very much connect to and associate with.
Mhm.
You know, it's a ragdoll cat who just wants to please. It's a golden retriever who's just energy. It's a bulldog who's just grumpy all the time. And then as
Of
we
course, the
get
grumpy
to
one's my favorite. Like, it's so obvious. It's just like, yeah, the one who's like, no, this is stupid.
why are we doing this?
Why are we
Why
doing
are we
this? I
doing...
can get us out of here.
yeah, yeah.
I don't need your help.
Yeah.
Of course,
And then
that's the
as
one.
they go through these things, they realize they kind of have to find more dimensions. And they don't just have to find, they also realize that they've been thinking these one dimensions, and maybe things
Mhm.
aren't as simple as
Right.
clear cut as they thought. So yeah, so that piece of it was an interesting, and that was not something I knew. I think I knew that story was in that shape, but I didn't realize it would affect the voices of the characters to the degree that it did. And then yeah, and then but also too, it's just it it is funny because I think, and this is sort of the prejudice of American comics and American art in general, is that like, if something is, the more serious something is, the more intelligent it is. Like, and so that's a bias, it seems like, that we
Yeah.
have in like entertainment. And so to do something that wants to talk about complicated things, but also its primary thing is to be hopeful and entertaining and cute and all of these things. And then there's a little bit for me anyway, of like the Emperor's New Clothes being just like, is everyone just gonna be able to see through like what a hack I am, because all of the
Yeah.
tricks I have to keep you from noticing my flaws as a writer have been completely stripped away.
That's always the fear, I think. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, does everyone know my secrets? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
do
yeah.
they see me the way I see me? Um, because definitely sometimes it's like, oh, that's so cool. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Yeah,
I
no,
won't
I'm
tell
so
you how I
scared
did
about.
it. It's like a magic
No,
trick
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, totally. I'm so scared about that. I won't even post things I'm reading that have to do with something I'm working on, just because I'm convinced. If you saw all the things I read while working on this, you instantly be like, oh yeah, that's that. He just stole everything from those things. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. I think I could get away with posting what I read. I don't think that
Okay.
would be the thing. I guess I go back and forth and like sort of like in like process and working of like
Mhm.
this is idiotic. No one needs to be told this. Like
Right.
this
Right.
is so obvious. Or it's just like this is so only of interest to me, where it's like how to get even panels. Like
Yeah,
I think I'm the
see,
only one who cares.
this is where I'm going to say you're wrong, because those of
This
us
is
who
why I
aren't
use three
artists,
colors of pencil.
those of us who aren't artists, it's not at all obvious. I mean, I'm married to an
Yeah.
art teacher. The number of times she does things, I'm like, wait a minute, I never thought about doing it that way. That's much easier than I thought it was. Still not something
Oh,
that I
that's
can
me
do on
watching
my
every other
own.
artist is like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a much easier way of doing that.
Right. But so I always like to see technique, and then the other thing is, no, I don't think any of it would be of interest. I mean, there's gonna be the geek out there,
Yeah.
probably me, that's
Hmm.
like, that's just fascinating. I mean, one of my I got a backroom tour at the Billy Ireland with Caitlin McGurk and Jeff Smith.
Mhm.
So, it was just us and my wife taking pictures, um, to like really spend some time with stuff. And still, like, the thing that was coolest to me was the Bill Watterson, um Calvin and Hobbes page that had been watercolored, because it blew my mind that he like done the line work onto a laminate, or not a
Yeah.
and then done the watercolor without lines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's a separate page with the watercolor, and then you lay the thing on top of it. I'm like, I don't even know why he did that, but it makes it look so cool.
I think it's in one of the books he talks about it. Maybe
Yeah,
like the 10th anniversary book. It's the
yeah,
printing process. I think.
right.
Well, colors are like doing original colors, like, and then putting them into like a computer even, which is like way easier than
Wow. Yeah.
when he was working. It's like all sorts of issues of like getting these watercolors like to scan right if you're
Hmm.
scanning it, like, and getting the correct quality. It's a lot of work, which is why generally for like I can't imagine doing like a watercolor, a long-term watercolor comic, just because the control is just lost once you digitize it. Um,
See, that's the sort of thing that I don't know either, and therefore I'm fascinated to learn. Of
well, but
course,
that's
I'm
also getting into
fascinated to
like
learn
all
like
those old
anything and
guys.
everything.
Like it's like this is what we used to do. It's like, yeah, nobody does that anymore. Like like you look at those old Marvel covers and they actually like glued
Yeah,
photocopies, I
yeah,
guess, of the title onto the drawing, like
Oh wow. Huh.
and stuff like that, where it's like it's literally glued on.
yeah,
Yeah.
And now
yeah.
it's just like, oh, just send us a pic, we'll do everything digitally. I
Actually,
actually feel with the man's best covers, I want to draw on the logo because I feel they look so
Oh,
unfinished as they are. Like I'm
you
like, oh, I should
should.
go back and like print out the logo, get it the right size, and lightboard it, and like put it on
Oh,
all
that'd
of
be
them.
cool.
Because I didn't draw it. Didn't come up with it. Jeff Powell um, came up with a great logo.
it
Yeah,
is.
he's Jeff is
Great
great.
font.
But see,
Great
that this
lettering too.
is, uh, one of my favorite conversations that I had was with Clem Robbins, because
Oh,
he crosses the
yeah.
the hand lettering to digital
Hmm.
lettering.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
So to
And he
hear
will
him,
remind you of that too when you work with him, let me tell you.
I believe it, but to hear him talk about like realizing when he was going to need to learn how to do it a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was able to tell me not which page, he couldn't remember which page, but he was able to tell me which volume of um 100 Bullets had the
Mm.
first page that he'd
Mm.
done digitally. He's like, I was seeing the writing on the wall, so I started messing around. And then
Yeah.
he's like, but this is what I love about handwriting. it's not quite the same, blah, blah, blah. So I needed to create my own font that could mimic that. So his font is like a 256 character font because there's not one A, there's like 6 A's, just so they don't look the same.
Yeah, I know. I like it when I'm fooled. Like if I'm looking at a font and I'm like, because I will just be like, is that E the same as that other E?
Yeah.
It feels the same. It's like, and then it's just like, is that? I can't tell. Like,
well, that's right, because he would have
everything's
lettered you.
digital now.
He would have lettered you on
Yeah,
Truesdale,
on this Truesdale, he was a letterer.
Yeah.
I actually
He does
didn't
everything.
communicate with him at all.
Okay.
Because
But you've at least seen it.
I've seen it, yeah. But it was sort of Marvel method a little bit. Like there was like specific points where there was script and dialogue that was sort of set, but then there were some things that Mignola changed based on the art or whatever. I think same thing that Pornsak's doing. Where he wrote 5 pages and I drew 15 or whatever. 5 panels.
Part of the fun actually on the book is actually once the pages are done, just like re-lettering and going through that. And then I had that fear. So I was like, oh, it's just gonna kill me when he realizes this line is not there the way I said.
No, like I put in my lettering notes. And I always want to write like feel free to ignore. But like this is what I was thinking. But
whenever I do a lettering draft, my fear is Jesse's gonna get the final comic. He's like, wait, what? This is what it's about?
No, I don't think so. I'll be distracted on something I messed up.
Right. We're running up on when Pornsak said he needed to leave us. And Jesse was saying that he was looking at a page and worrying about how long it was going to take today. So I don't want to take all of your time, but I do want to ask my favorite question to ask. And since you've both been on before and like done the all-time book that you wish more people had read, what's one of your favorite comics from the last year or so? I mean, what have you read that I mean, particularly if it's one that you read and loved and you haven't had enough people to talk about it. It's like every time you bring it up with somebody, they're like, I should read that, or I haven't even heard of that. What?
You know what I just got into recently? I've read a year's worth of Levitz and Giffin's Legion.
Okay.
And Legion is one of those things, like I worked at DC for 12 years and Legion was one of the things I missed. It just felt like impenetrable to me. And so with Keith's passing, I decided like, I was working on a sci-fi book. Let's look at Legion. And so I started with The Great Darkness, and then I was like, wow, this is really great. And one of the things I realized was that like more so than anyone, like Levitz was writing like, and it's Levitz and Giffen, like they're the secret sauce together, but they were just like these soap operas that I don't think anyone, even at the time or since, has really done to quite the same degree. And I think when it was just Paul, it was more soap opera and superheroes. But when it was Keith on top as well, there was a lot more sci-fi, and it was like the perfect mix. But I went to like $1 bin and like bought 30 like Levitz and Giffin's Legions. I was just like so blown away, and it definitely was a tangent that I took of just like reading Legion of Superhero comics.
Okay. I'll come back to that in a second, but
I'm the worst to answer for anything recent because I feel like I don't read anything in order. It's like, oh, this came out 5 years ago.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, he didn't actually give me recent.
But yeah,
my recent was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, but I feel like if you ask me like when did that come out, I'll be like that came out last year. It's like 2013. But I guess like a book I was just looking at this week that I really liked. I don't know if I've heard people talk about is I Am Young. By MD.
Yeah, I've read that.
This Fantagraphics book is about like
I read it a
like
while
a relationship over 30 years. It relates to the Beatles.
Wow.
It's got like really, really cool indie colors. And like a lot of like in terms of like when I was thinking about like, you see the layouts that I do in other places, like MD has that kind of similar sort of thing going on, I think. And that's a really cool story. And I've also been rereading Mind Management
Oh, cool.
By
Nice.
Matt Kinn, and it's just like I like the ideas that are just like dropped. Like it's just like oh,
Yeah.
here's an idea, and it's just
I
like
still need to
that's a
talk
good
to
idea. It's
Matt Kint.
like one page,
Yeah.
And
and it's
that's
like
one of the reasons why I did a book club with Mind Management. And when I'm
yeah.
like book clubbing with somebody, I have a tendency to stick post-it notes when I have questions or things that I want to talk about. Each volume of Mind Management has an average of like 1.3 post-it notes per page.
Yeah.
I want to see how he plotted it. I envision him in a cave with like a murder board with red string going between.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so much fun.
And all
it's
watercolor. I mean, going back to the
my management all watercolor.
I think it is.
I know Department H is all watercolor. I don't know if
I think it's
maybe it is. It looks like watercolor.
Yeah.
You never can tell now.
Yeah, it's true.
So
I mean, he did everything on it, I think, except for lettering.
Yeah.
So probably it's watercolor.
I think he might have done the lettering too.
No.
Did he have it?
I think it's digital. I think it's one of those ones that I looked at closely and I was like, it's digital.
Okay. He might have bought a font and typed it in.
Yeah.
Not hand lettering. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So Pornsak, I'm gonna let you know that one of my best friends is, I call him the world's biggest Legion of Superheroes. Fan. He doesn't always accept that title, but Paul Levitz has called him that too. So I think he should. So in April every year we have a Legion of Superheroes roundtable. Where it's just Legion fans and Legion creators. We came this close to having a ridiculous batch this year because we had Paul, had Tom Beerbaum.
Oh, nice.
And we were gonna have Keith, but he came down with COVID 2 days before we recorded, and we got the email from his son-in-law, and then he passed. I mean, we were planning on getting back together with Keith. He wound up passing away before we actually managed to make that happen. But yeah, we came this close to having that ridiculous.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
Darkness Saga through 5 years later team.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Let me know if you want in on the Legion fan.
I have a lot of catching up to do. I've read a year of Legion.
I get it, but you know what?
I can't keep up with fans.
I haven't even read 5 years later yet.
Yeah, but Pornsak, I haven't even read that much. I just enjoy listening to them.
No.
I mean, because the Legion fans are kind of a special group of fans.
Yeah, they really are. You can tell from the way they interact in letters pages and all that.
Right. I mean, they remind me more. And actually, like last year, Johnny managed to get the guys who had created the original Legion fanzine.
Oh, cool! Wow.
It's a fun conversation. In general, I mean, last year it was the guys that created the original fanzine, and Joe Illage joined us because Joe has probably read more Legion than you, but by the end of the episode, he was just asking them questions because he's I can only contribute some in terms of the Legion lore.
I need to get caught up. I have a groundswell of Legion comics with a bunch of holes in all the runs. So I need to get them all and then read them all before I feel I can be worthy of that, because I also like it.
That always just like the true fans. I'm just like amazed with their memories because I don't remember anything.
No, I don't either.
Like I'm rereading Mind Management and it's like I'm reading it for the first time.
Yep. Same.
It's
I've done it like 4 times now, and every time it's like that.
And I'm like, why do I buy new comics? Like I can just read all the old ones.
Just keep reading them
because there are so many good ones.
I know.
I mean, I keep saying that we're in the platinum age of comics. I've said for a long time, and I get pushback on this, but I challenge people to go actually like take any given week from history and don't look at the best comics from that week. Look at the bottom 20% of that week. I think the bar for the average comic goes up significantly every decade.
Yeah, I think so. I also think, especially like you were talking about, like Comics Crossroads, like what indie comics are not like what the DIY staple it together on your own is now. Like they're producing such like high level professional, just even like on a production level, but like artistic level too. It's like this is I feel like you go 20 years ago and it was just like this, somebody scrawled it and stapled it the morning before, and now it's like no, everybody's like producing like finished high quality stuff. There's still like I still love the scrawl and
basic
staple,
bar goes up, but the other thing is I think there's more and more. I mean, the excellent books of years past aren't necessarily any better or worse than the excellent books now. But I think we've got more, and I think there's a higher quantity of just you can't keep up. I mean, I read more comics than almost anybody I know, and I always have, 10 a week in terms of weeklies, and a stack of trades that I want to get to and haven't gotten to. And I finally get to them, and I'm like, oh my god.
I have, and they're visible right behind me, 3 long boxes of unread floppies. Nice.
Actually, the ones behind me are most of the red ones. The unread ones are actually in the living room because my wife loves me.
All my comics are upstairs in the studio.
But yeah, no, I mean, there's just there's something for everybody right now. There's more and more nonfiction comics. There's more and more young adult, middle grade, actual children's comics. And slowly we're getting to the point where people don't like think of comics as only like a kid's thing or less, which they shouldn't, because if anything, comics literacy is a little bit harder than just basic literacy. You can learn to read through comics. It's hard to just, so many people going from prose to comics have a learning curve before they can fully grasp them, because you have to use both sides of your brain. You have to take those words and pictures and make them something bigger. But Pornsak's starting to look at the clock, and he should. So I am going to say thank you guys so much. I'd love it if we can get back together when it's all over, and therefore, the spoilers can come out. Because my God, does it look gorgeous, and feel free to keep me ahead of the game, just because the only problem with getting that early preview is you gotta wait even longer.
April, I think, is the second issue comes out.
April, the second issue comes out.
I remember John Lees gave me the first 2 copies or first 2 issues of Crimson Cage 2 months before the first issue came out. Therefore, I got to wait like 5 months for the 3rd issue. I know enough of you well enough now that I'm willing to beg rather than go, is it okay for me to say, hey, can I see this?
So
if you think of it, and if I like find myself really wanting to, I might reach out and say, hey, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? Feel free to ignore me, but feel free to be nice to me too.
Right.
Guys, it's always great. Thank you so much. And for 22 panels, we will see you after the next page.
Hey guys, this is Tyler from 22 Panels. I'm here to tell you all about our Patreon. If you enjoy this show, please consider donating to our Patreon to keep this show going. We have many different tiers, all different levels, to help you decide what's right for you. Okay, so get on out there to patreon.com/22panelspodcast.